Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Shutterfly. If you're like us, you take a lot of pictures because you have a camera right in your hand all the time. How would you not take a lot of pictures? And we're taking all these pictures, more than we've ever taken in the history of the world.
What are you going to do with them all?
That's the thing. You used to get a solid picture, and then you'd look through them, and you could enjoy them. Now they're like back on your camera roll. You can't even find them. You don't want that. That's why the cool thing you need to do, and what I did, and I think it's pretty cool, is create a Shutterfly photo book.
Oh.
What I did, and you're going to enjoy this, Jimmy, because I haven't showed this to you yet, but took all of our pictures from being on tour this year.
Oh.
All live show pictures, us backstage, us on stage, doing all that stuff, and like some of the venues and things, and made a little photo book out of that. Also, they have free 24-hour designer service as well. With their 24-hour designer service, a professional designer is going to lay out the book for you for free in just a day. Make something that means something with Shutterfly. Enjoy 40% off orders over $29 with promo code SMALLTOWN. See site for promotional details.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about Rocket Money. It's the start of a new year. It's the perfect time to get organized, set your goals, prioritize what matters most. And for me, top priority is getting myself together here. Financial wellness, doing that, which that feels important, just feels like adult stuff that you have to do. And thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable now. They show me all my subscriptions in one place, help me easily cancel ones I forgot that I've been paying for, which happened to me. Absolutely happened to me. For years, I was paying for something. I was like, what is going on here? Rocket Money found it and saved me lots of money since then, because it's been a while. So they did a great job here. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder today. That's rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder. rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely, and parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/Wondery.
This week, we look at Eaton, Ohio, where the investigation of a man's disappearance leads to a gruesome discovery. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Yeah, I'm excited today. Jimmy, you excited?
I'm pretty pumped.
My name's James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Whisman.
And thank you guys for joining us today on Small Town Murder.
Thanks for coming back.
Thanks for coming back. New listeners, welcome aboard. Yeah. Glad to have you guys. Thank you so much for being here with us. One thing, quick, before we start, just want to, two things actually. One, want to thank everybody for their iTunes reviews, first of all, this week.
Big.
Thank you guys so much for that. Really, if you like the show and you'd like to help out the show, that is the best way you can do it for us, is to give us 5 stars on iTunes and say whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Say you like ice cream. We don't care. But give us the 5 stars. It really, really helps us out on the business end of things and keeps the podcast going up the charts.
Yep.
Hope you enjoyed last week's Insanity. I know I had a good time there. And
it was a bit much.
And that was
much.
deep, man. There was some stuff in there where I was like, oh no, I don't like
crazy.
the way that is.
Yeah,
there was some stuff that I did not care for at all in that. But, what are you going to do? It's fine. It is what it is. And
that's life.
That leads us to our disclaimer here. We just want to tell everybody, if you're a new listener, especially, this would be helpful for you. We just want to tell you guys, we are comedians.
That's true.
This is a comedy podcast. We're stand-up comics. We break our balls on research. We really try to. The facts are accurate. We try our best to present the story as truthfully and as accurately as humanly possible. But we also, which is great, the information's fine. But if you are offended by comedy in a true crime podcast, this is not for you.
Also, I fucking hate you.
Yes, that too. But we're going to make jokes.
I want you to fucking go away.
We'd like to do a story about you if you're offended by that, basically. But it's basically... We're going to make jokes. So that's the way
it's going to happen.
We never, ever, ever intend to denigrate or disrespect the victims or the victims' families or anything like that. If you notice, if you listen, we're actually furious at the people that do these crimes. And the comedy comes from, A, making fun of the town, because everybody's town sucks. Sorry. My town sucked. Where you're from
I grew up sucks.
It sucks.
It all sucks.
Everything sucks. And you know what? Even if it doesn't suck, we're going to find a little bit of comedy in it anyway. And also,
it's the best way to fucking digest something so horrific.
And that's we make fun of the perpetrator. We make fun of if there's a kind of a system in place that is lousy. We make fun of that, and that's what we're making fun of. It's never the victim. It's never the crime. It's literally just the surrounding things of it. So if that sounds good to you, we are excited to have you on board.
Yeah, welcome and stick around because this is going to be fun.
We'd love to have you aboard, but this is the way we like to present this information.
I would love to have them too. I would love to have them enjoy this, but unfortunately, they don't have the ability for joy.
No, some people don't have the ability for joy.
Some people just find anger.
That's a problem.
Where there's funny, and I choose not to be around those people, and I hope that they choose not to be around me.
That would be the best case scenario, but you never know. So here we are. We have a great story.
Not
for
everybody
you tonight.
go away.
No, please stick around because really,
that
you're going to miss
really
the fun.
cunty.
You're going to miss the fun.
We're going to have fun. Here we go.
Yeah, don't miss the fun. We are headed to Eaton, Ohio.
All right.
Oh, Eaton, Ohio.
Sounds beautiful.
The Paris of the Midwest, Eaton, Ohio. Zip code 45320 in case you get any mail from there. Also, keep an eye out for the 937 area code. That is Eaton, Ohio.
All right.
This is a nice little town, actually. It's in the southwest corner of Ohio. Okay. It's the county. It's in Preble County. It's in the southwest corner, not far, but it's on the western border, on the Indiana border.
Okay.
On the side there. It's an old-fashioned community, would be the best way I can put it. It feels like, from everything I've read, everything I've seen, it feels like the land that time forgot.
It's the part of Ohio that fucks up every election.
Oh, they do. They do big time. We'll get into that. But
I just had a picture of them going to the polls and fucking everything up on purpose.
That might be the case, but there's the town motto we have here. The town motto is, quote, a rural community growing into the future.
Oh.
So they're admitting they're rural, which is
proud.
fine. They don't seem to be growing into the future. They seem to be receding into the past from what I get out of this. But it's a small town, 6.20 square miles. So very small little town.
That's the whole town?
That's the whole town. Just a small little area. It's about an hour to Cincinnati. So it's in that area. It's almost 4 hours to Cleveland. That's up by the lake. This is down in the southern part of it. It is founded in 1806, Eaton, Ohio.
Oh.
It's an old town. Named after General William Eaton.
Oh,
wow, a national hero.
Yeah.
No, I've never heard of him. He did some things in Tripoli, and it was literally some military things from back then. I have no idea. It was from 1700s. This guy was. So unless you're George Washington or Paul Revere, we don't know shit about you. For men, sorry. If you're overseas, you know even less, so don't worry about it.
The only reason I know anything about George Washington is I was forced to.
They forced
you.
And
I was born on the same fucking day as him. That's
look at you.
Two great men.
Yeah, two wonderful men. In 1849, by that time, the town had 1,000 people. Okay, it was growing. It was mostly agricultural.
It took 40 years for them to get...
Well, I mean, back then, that was a decent town back then, 1,000 people.
Yeah, I guess.
But it had 1,000 people. It's mostly agricultural, too. So, I mean, it was rural. I mean, unless you were on a farm, there was really no reason for you to be there. This is pre-industrial revolution type of thing. So,
what are they growing?
I don't even know what they were growing
I'm going to
back
assume
then.
Corn?
I don't know what they grew back then because it didn't last long because there was a big cholera outbreak.
Oh, fantastic.
In 1849. Half the town fled.
Really?
Half the town
500 people
fled
were like, fuck
cholera.
this.
And of the remaining 500, 140 people died.
Wow.
So it was that's a big chunk of the town's population.
No traffic.
So, that knocked them. No horse and buggy traffic. Horse and buggies, you can stay to the right. No one's going to bother you.
No more horse shit on the roads.
Absolutely not. So, now they're down to, less than 300 people or 300-something people, 350 people in the whole town.
Cholera wiped out 70% of the town, whether they moved away or died.
They had a big fire downtown in June of 1859, destroyed most of the businesses. I think they said 13 or 14 businesses, which was pretty much all of them back then. I mean, it's 1800s. There's not a lot going on. Even scorched the courthouse, which I guess you could see for decades and decades.
Awesome.
Scorched courthouse there, which is interesting.
A little bit of history.
A little bit of history here. Let's get into everything else, the population, all that good stuff here.
I love that. That's my favorite part of this.
I do too. I like finding out about the people. That's the good stuff.
That really just describes and lets you know how somebody grew up and what they came from.
It's about 8,400 people,
wow.
basically. About 8,400, very small town. It's one of these places that it's the type of place where you would see on TV where they have like little parades, you know, where like the VFWs marching down the street and throwing candy at the kids. Like that's the type of town it is.
Shriners are definitely in it.
Yeah, it's really like an old-fashioned type of town. It's rural. All the houses look a certain way. The main street area looks a certain way. It's really like the land time forgot. And I'll tell you why, too, as we get into like the economy and stuff of it, and then we're going to get into murder. But the people in this town, the town has not grown really since the year 2000. It's pretty much stayed stagnant population-wise. Not a lot of people flocking to the Midwest since then. There's more males than females, 52 to 48%.
That would help explain why.
You know, pretty average in terms of age. There's slightly more kids than average, slightly less people, about 35 to 60 years old than average, so I don't know where they're going. Racial breakdown, 96.14% white. That is very white.
Super white.
Super white. 62% is the national average. So that gives you, it's a third more white than national average here.
Fascinating.
0.71% black. They couldn't
not even a 1%.
Couldn't break a percent. It's
Muster a percent.
No, it's about 12.25% is the average. 1.25% Asian. Not a lot of Asians there. 0.49% Hispanic. It's about 17 is the average. 17%.
Less Hispanics than black.
Yes, less Hispanics than black people. It says here, quote, 99.51 non-Hispanic. So that is pretty non-Hispanic.
When you lump those Asians and those black people in there, it jumps another 0.5%.
It's really funny. Once again, this is episode 5 right now. And this is our 4th town. None of these towns have any Mexicans or any Jewish people, as we'll get into. They have 0.0% Jewish in the religion. So
add some Jews. Shit gets safe.
If you live in a small town and there's no Mexicans or there's no Jewish people, just hide because you will be killed. You're going to be killed. It's just the way it is. This is just from the research we've found so far.
And you know what? The whole blacks and Mexicans and that whole racist movement of people, those are the ones that are causing the problems. Clearly fucking not.
Not here,
based on our podcast, fucking not.
We'll get into who causes the problems here today, but it's definitely someone close to the victim.
Okay.
The religion in this town, it's only 31% of the people are said to be religious here, which is very low compared to national averages over 49%.
Yeah.
So that is super low, and it's the lowest one we've had so far in our small town here. It's basically different sects of Christianity. Methodist, Presbyterian, Lutheran, and other Christian are all the top ones. So.
Well, when cholera wipes out almost your entire town, you tend to go, fuck God.
Yeah, they're like, you know what, never mind God here. We don't need God. We do not need God. No. We have farming.
The survivors were just fed the fuck up with God.
We're going to have a parade instead. 0% Jewish, 0% Muslim, so nobody from anywhere in the Middle East and anywhere in here. The voting here, basically, it's 67% Republican, which is about 30 points higher than the national average.
Jesus.
31% Democratic, which is about almost 20 points lower than the national average. So they're definitely it's a conservative town, we'll call it. Yeah. Definitely a conservative town.
Conservative, but not religious, which is fascinating.
That's the odd thing. It's conservative in the fact that, and we'll find out exactly why when we get into the economy here in a second, of why it's a little more conservative and why it's old-fashioned also in that same way. Basically, cost of living, if we say 100 being the average cost of living, as we do in the show, 100 is the average. Eaton is an 84, so it's less expensive than your average place. The big thing is the utilities are a little more expensive, but everything else is pretty much average. The housing is cheap there. Housing is a 54 out of 100.
Oh, goodness.
It's about half the
average.
The average expense for a house. Median house cost in Eaton is $99,600.
That's pretty decent.
It's decent. It's about half the average. $185 is
a little bit more than an Escalade.
So that's not a bad price. And these are nice homes too. That's the weird part. It's like they're nice
Ohio
homes.
has some cool architecture.
A lot of them are old.
Right.
A lot of them are like 1800s.
Very
homes.
colonial.
So colonial, Victorianish. Not Victorian, but they're the 3-story houses with the the window in the attic and all that
Lots
kind
of pillars.
Front porch.
Yes.
That sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That's what we're
Family
talking about
time.
here. Yeah. In the last 5 years, 5 years, the average home appreciation across the U.S., gaining value is 16%. In Eaton, it is negative 7.22%.
Wow.
So they have their housing prices are not going well there.
That's terrible.
But I think that has to do with a lot of Ohio also.
Yeah.
I think that's one of those things.
A lot of people leaving.
Now, here's some stuff here if you're interested in moving to Eaton, Ohio. Here's the Eaton real estate report here for you. The average two-bedroom apartment in Eaton is $676 a month.
Very affordable.
Very affordable. The average nationally is $1,027. So that's not bad. 50% of the houses there are valued between $80,000 and $150,000. So they're all in this. They're all in this little, this window of
tight window,
average.
Yeah.
It's a very middle class. This is the most middle class community you can find right here. It's one of those places. Only 0.52% of the houses are over $300,000 in value.
How much? Point what?
0.52%.
Wow.
So not a lot. Less than 1% are valued over $300,000. Like I said,
that's
very
just the
blue-collar.
mayor and fucking a judge and probably the chief of police.
It's like a historic house that somebody built 200 years ago that they've kept up, maybe something like that.
Right.
You can find in Eaton a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot on Saxon Drive for $123,000.
This town just sounds like the best town in America if you make $25 an hour. It's perfect. It's right up your alley.
Exactly what it is. It's if you have a blue collar manufacturing type of job, the jobs everyone says, where are all those jobs going? They're in Eaton, Ohio. That's where they are. So if you want one of those jobs.
And they're living good.
Yeah, don't complain about it. Move to Eaton, Ohio. Get yourself a $99,000 house. Here's a 5-bedroom, 2-bath, 2.5 bath, 3,100 square foot house.
My God, that's a big house.
It's pretty too. South Maple Street, $184,000.
Goodness gracious.
That's ridiculous. A 3-bedroom, 1-bath on Washington Street, $78,000. And a 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 3,000 square foot house on West Main Street for only $85,000.
Wow!
So I mean, you can live comfortably here on not a lot, on a decent blue collar, like a manufacturing.
That sounds like
type
a
income.
kick-ass house.
It is. It sounds great.
5-bedroom, 2.5 bath.
Yeah, not bad.
That sounds beautiful.
It sounds beautiful, man. Nice. You can go to the parade, get candy thrown at you by a veteran. It's beautiful. by an 86-year-old veteran of a foreign war. It's perfect.
With some sort of goofy hat on.
Yeah. Oh, he'll have a goofy hat
Absolutely.
on, and a blazer, too,
something
that has some patch on it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it'll be something kind of club that they formed. Elementary schools here. We have the schools. They have 3 schools, a little elementary school, Eaton Middle School, and Eaton High. So they're very, just like a small town. Here's our high school. Here's our elementary school. They spend way more per average on students than other places.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know, but they get their money's worth. I think it's because they're honestly, it's one of these things. In a decent community, that's a nice community, they actually care about the schools.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, middle class, they tend to think about their future, and they're like, well, if those kids get smarter and get better, then maybe I'll be taken care of.
Exactly, and I think, too, you want your kid to have, to
better
go on
life.
and not have to work at the factory that might be closing down at some point. Who knows? So it's one of those things. On the average in America, they spend $12,383 per student a year. In Eaton, they spend $21,702 per
by
student.
a lot.
So by a lot.
Holy shit!
Those schools are top notch. I feel
doubt.
Like 88% graduation rate, which is higher than the national average. 4-year degree is where it dips. When people get a college degree, they move out of here because there isn't that many jobs for college graduates here. Right. This is a blue-collar town, and if you want to go somewhere else, I guess you go to Cincinnati or you get out of you get out of the Midwest. Yeah. I don't know where you go, or
you go to Chicago. That's not very far away.
Yeah, there's less than half the average of 4-year degree holders in this town.
Okay.
Master's is about half the average, so we're sensing something. Doctorate, 0.11%. There's not a lot there. Basically, you get an education, you get the fuck out of Eaton quickly. Eaton is a place you're from, not a place you're going to. It's one of those things. Like that's a town I was from that I moved away from because it was boring type of thing. Unemployment rate is less than the national average. It is 4%, their unemployment rate. So you can get a job at
Everybody's
Eaton.
working.
Everybody's working. And it's funny, too, because despite slower job growth than the average around the country, it's still 4%.
Still hanging on.
So people just kept these jobs. Average household income is $33,519,
which is fine if you live.
If you can buy a house for $85,000, $53,000 is the average nationally. Yeah. So that's less. Less than 2% of the people make over $150,000.
Less than 2%.
Less than 2%. It's about 10% on the average. So
my God.
That tells you a lot here, and let's get into the jobs and things like that.
1,600 people in that town make over $100,000.
Pretty much, yeah. It's not too much here. Now, or 1,600.
Yeah, because you said
8,400
8,000 is the total, right?
Yeah, and it's
so 2% is 1,600, isn't it?
No.
It's 160.
160, yeah. Chop
Oh
off
my
a zero.
God. I
We
am
are-
so terrible
we're
at math.
comedians, not mathematicians, obviously. We do not have a doctorate either, or a master's degree, or really 4-year degrees for that matter.
that would be 20%. Less than 200 people make over $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
This is wild, man. Now, not a lot of jobs in the finance and business field. Way less than average. A lot of twice the average of food service jobs there, and a ton of production and transportation. This is what I mean with the manufacturing. 26% are production and transportation jobs there, which is more than twice the national average. So this is where the manufacturing jobs are. They're in Eaton, Ohio, in case you want one. They still are. It's like they're behind 50 years. But not in a bad way, I guess.
No.
Except for maybe racially. Get a couple black people in there, maybe an Asian or two. Get a couple Mexicans, whatever. But
Stop being so scared of Muslims. Let them in.
Them too, yeah.
Right.
They definitely don't have any of them. Now, I feel like the Jews don't want to be there.
Right.
They're like, nah, that's all right. They're okay. We're not into manufacturing.
No.
So if you're looking for something to do in Eaton, the Eaton Early Bird Farmers Market is open Saturdays.
My God.
This is literally on their Things to Do page, by the way.
Get out of here.
Preble County Historical Society, the City of Eaton Fire and EMS. I don't know why you'd want to visit
That's
there.
what you do on Saturday?
You should hang out at the station. That's literally a thing to do. And finally, this is the big one here. The Preble County Pork Festival.
Oh, God.
Huge deal.
Yes.
Huge deal. Every third full weekend in September.
Yeah.
Free admission, free
Come on
entertainment.
down and raise your cholesterol.
And now we get into the crime.
All right.
Crime rates and then into the crime. Crime rates here, property crime is high. It's almost twice the national average.
Okay.
Property crime is burglary, theft, motor vehicle theft, et cetera, et
And
cetera.
damage.
Violent crime is 1/3 the average of national.
Wow.
So that's murder, rape, robbery, assault. You're way less likely to get murdered or raped, but someone might steal your bike off the front porch.
Right.
So that's not a bad trade-off, honestly.
No,
That's
I'm
okay. I
in.
can deal with that. And now one person...
I can buy a new bike. I can't buy my innocence.
Exactly. I'd much rather have something stolen from me than be physically assaulted, raped, robbed, or
have something stolen from me than the elasticity of my bunghole. You know what I
That
mean?
is a good point. Very, very good point. I like to keep it tight. Now, we have... let's introduce Tim Johnson to this scenario here. Okay. Tim Johnson grows up in Eaton. I don't know exactly what happened, but he was an orphan as a child. He did not have parents because at age 10, he's adopted by an Eaton family.
Okay.
And he's known as a nice, shy, quiet guy.
At age 10. So
at age 10.
Was he in like a foster home?
I don't know where he was. I don't know the background of his parents. That was not information that was available to me. But
so for this story, at 10 years old, he rose from a field in fucking Eaton, Ohio, and a family was like, "Adopt it. It's ours."
They went to one of those parades, and he just left with a family, and they were like, "All right, fine, whatever."
Little Timmy,
he got some candy off the ground, so it's fine. So yeah, he's known as a nice, shy, quiet guy. Like I said, adopted at age 10, and also there's another adopted child in this family, Pamela Henry. She is his foster sister. She's 10 years older than him. And so I don't know what this family. It's weird. It's hard to judge when you have foster children like this because it's really not even half and half. But there's two different types of people that adopt children.
Right.
There's the people who are just saints and they really want to help children and they want to adopt them and take care of them.
They're
and give them a better
amazing
future.
people.
And you can't get a better person on earth than that. That's just amazing. And then there's also people who like to do it as a check. They see it as this is an income source. If I have 3 kids, that equals this much money per month, and then I don't have to do shit.
And at my job where I have health insurance, after I have 2 kids, it doesn't fucking cost me another dime to have them. So
So I feel like maybe that's. I don't know about this family, but I know that's a possibility with all of this. He grows up in this family, and like I said, with Pamela being the older sister, but I think she was gone out of the house.
She was 20 when
he was 20.
Right.
Yeah. Now, as they get older here, when they're adults, Tim and Pamela's their father dies.
Oh, no.
So the father's dead, and their mother, Nancy, is extremely ill. She's bound to a wheelchair. She needs round-the-clock care. She can't bathe herself, dress herself, feed herself. She can't do anything.
What a nightmare.
What a nightmare. So Tim, being the nice guy that he is, and pay you back for adopting me.
Yeah.
He moves in to take care of his mother.
Sure.
And he moves into the house with Pamela lives there too. Mm-hmm. She lives with her mother, but Tim moves in so he can take care of the mother, which is nice of him to do. I got to say, anybody would do that for their mother, but he's.
And how old was he when the dad died?
I believe it was about 30 when the dad died.
All right.
Now, like I said, Pamela Henry already lived in the home. with the mother. I don't know why she couldn't take care of her, but she seems like a bit of a flake.
She's a 40-year-old woman. Let's go. Get it together, Pam.
Like a little bit of a flake, but we'll get into this here as we approach 2007. Okay. Pam is about 46, 47 years old at this point. She's also dating a man named Adam Scott, who is 19 years younger than her. He's 28. So it's so weird. I know it's a stereotype thing, and when a guy dates a young girl, you don't think twice about it. But then when a 47-year-old woman dates a 29-year-old man, you're like, ooh, that's a little weird. It's strange, but you still feel that way, don't you? You're like, that's odd.
Well, when I was 23 or 24, something around there.
Yeah,
I had a thing with a woman that was like, I think she was 50.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And see, your face right now is exactly how I felt inside.
Look at
you. It was fine.
I'm sure she was a nice lady.
Yeah, my friend was dating her daughter, and that's how I met her. Anyway, nice. It was fucking weird for me, and I was seeing her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I know that if I was out with her, people were like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah, you look like her son.
Yeah,
I'm sure you're
it's
half
bizarre.
her age.
Yeah.
So and I think and it goes the same way with men and women. If you see a 60-year-old guy and he's got a 25-year-old girlfriend, you're like, that's fucking creepy.
She was 48.
That's great. That's the same type of thing here, except Adam Scott's a little older. Anyway, Tim, like I said, bathed, fed, clothed the mother Nancy. Took round-the-clock care of her. This Adam Scott also stayed at the house quite a bit. He stayed over there, too. So who is this guy where he's got to stay with his older girlfriend and their infirmed mother?
Right.
Get an apartment, asshole.
And 37-year-old Tim is there, too, at this point.
Yeah, he's there, too, living there, actually doing everything, taking care of the woman. Now, so this all goes on for a while. Pamela and Tim don't always get along really well. But I mean, brothers and sisters. Yeah. So even
adopted,
if they're not related, adopted brothers and sisters. And she's a bit of a whack job, too, this Pamela.
Fantastic.
As we'll find out. Now, on January 20th, 2007, over this weekend, Tim goes missing. Tim's gone. Can't find Tim.
Tim's already gone from our story.
Poof. Tim will make a comeback. Don't
miss
worry.
Tim already.
Tim's gone. I know. Tim's a nice guy, and I'm missing Tim right now.
He's got a heart of gold.
No one knows where Tim is.
Oh, no.
Tim is missing. He's gone. It's very unlike him to disappear because he's very responsible, and he has responsibilities like to take care of his mother. And his mother's like, I need my bath, and she's not there to help her with it. So they let it go. Nobody reports it or anything because it's not illegal for a grown man to go somewhere without notice. He's a 30-something-year-old man. He can go somewhere for a weekend if he feels like it. So nobody notifies authorities. Nobody looks for him. It's not like he's a 10-year-old girl. Everybody just goes on like, he must have left. No problem here. Now, after about 2 weeks of this, though, people start to wonder. After about 2 weeks, they're like, hey, where'd Tim go? Because there's other family. It's not just them. They have aunts and uncles and cousins, and they come over to see the mom and all that kind of thing. And they're like, where'd Tim go? Hey, where's Tim? Hey, Tim's still not back? The mother's saying, I haven't seen Tim.
Sabbatical in Cincy, that's all.
It's insane. So after about 2 weeks, another family member calls the police about Tim and says, look, Tim's missing because this family member went to the house and noticed some of Tim's stuff was missing. They said, Tim's not here.
That's a giveaway.
His computer's gone.
Oh.
His cars are there, though. He didn't take his cars when he disappeared.
He threw those computers over his shoulder and huffed it down the road.
His tools are gone. His computer's gone. Things that are easily hockable at a pawn shop, basically. Anything like that is gone. So they're
not to mention hard to carry when you don't have a car.
Exactly. It's not like he walked out with a giant Stanley toolbox and a 2007 desktop monitor under it. These are not flat screens. I saw a picture. These are like
it looks like a suitcase.
Yeah, it's a giant monitor and a big desktop tower.
Compact.
You'd need help with that shit to get it out of your house, basically. They noticed they were missing. They also told the police that Tim had two cars. He had a car and a van. And the family said that Pamela and Adam, the sister and boyfriend, had been driving Tim's cars the whole time, which is usually a no-no. Yeah. Tim doesn't let her take the cars because she's a whack job, basically. So that's weird. And they're like, this is odd. They're driving the cars. Tim hasn't been around in a couple weeks. What's going on?
And a bunch of his hockable shit's gone. Now, an investigator with the Sheriff's Department, David Lindloff, said with the Preble County Sheriff's Department, said, quote, we found a calendar that recorded different things that he had done. And then you came up to that particular date and nothing after that, not a thing. So that told me that something happened abruptly. And I saw a picture of this calendar, and it's just a regular calendar. It's the month of January. Like a writable one?
Yeah, like a wall calendar that you'd hang up. And he has literally things written in every single day. Meticulous. And the ones where he doesn't, there's a line through it. Because he puts a line through the whole thing.
I don't have shit to do today.
So, I don't have shit. But time doesn't pass without any marking on the calendar. It just doesn't go.
And then the one day that he disappears...
All of a sudden,
as of January 20th, the calendar's clean.
There's no
nothing,
doodles.
Nothing. So it's like, the cops figured that's when he disappeared. At least we know when now.
Right.
So they get that sort of thing. There's nothing there at all. So yeah, not even a dash past the 20th. Police discover in the house, they come in and look, and they come under the pretense of, we're going to try to find some clues as to where Tim is. He's a missing person at this point.
Got a missing person investigation.
Yeah, that's all it is. So they come in, they look around, they find in his room his wallet and his checkbook. Mm-hmm. How many people leave for weeks at a time without their wallet and their checkbook?
And make sure to remember their tools and computer.
Yeah, but they get that. I got all my tools, but fuck my wallet. I don't need that at all. Got my tools,
right.
Got my compact Presario in case I want to look a couple things up.
I'm going on vacation.
Yeah, got my Dell. Gonna pack it on up. So, basically, police at this point are real interested in talking to Pamela.
Yeah.
She's not at the house when they're
Some
there.
shit is suspect at
They're
this
like,
point.
Where is that sister
Right.
that's been driving his car?
Where's that
What's
dizzy
up with
dame?
that guy? So what's up with that girl? Yeah, well, let's have a chat with her, shall we?
May as well.
Pamela, they talk to her. She is super cooperative with police. They get a hold of her at the house.
Oh, sweet.
Insanely cooperative. She says she has no idea where Tim is. She's actually upset with him because he ran out and left her to care for the mother. And that's normally his responsibility. And now the mother's like, what's going on here?
Right.
You know, what's happening? So that makes a lot of sense. She says she's upset that he...
Real quickly, though, he didn't leave you with his fucking kids. He left you with his mom, which happens to be your birth mom,
That
too.
doesn't matter to her. Are you kidding me? Come on.
Fascinating.
I got shit to do. I got some boyfriend sleeping over. What are you talking about?
He's 28. His dick's always hard.
Come on,
I got
forget
things to
about
do.
it. Yeah, I'm not going to bathe this old bag. No way. That's what she's thinking. So they say that Adam, this is the other thing too, they say, yeah, we were driving the car. Adam, my boyfriend, is buying the car from Tim. Mm-hmm. He's in the process of buying it right now. He's been paying him money. It's a $7,000 is what he's going to pay for the van, and that's what he's been paying. So that's why he's driving it, because they're working out a payment plan. Pamela also says that the last time she saw Tim was at the home. And she says they got into an argument. They got into a big fight, and he called someone, she doesn't know who came and picked him up at the house in a dark-colored vehicle and drove away. And she
with
hasn't
his
seen him
tools and
since.
his computer.
Which, she said he was dragging his Dell, his whole Dell tower behind him. And
by the power cord.
By the power cord, exactly.
Letting it bounce off the lawn.
Yeah, he had the monitor under one arm, power cord dragging. That was it. He left into the night, and she said, I guess I'm stuck with
my wallet.
Guess I'm stuck with Nancy. Fine.
Awesome.
So, the police, they don't believe Pamela.
Oh, God, they better
that
not.
Doesn't sound
they
right.
They fucking better not.
They're not completely stupid, these cops here. Actually, these cops aren't too dumb at all, which is interesting. They don't want to believe Pamela. They want her and Adam Scott to come down to the station for an interview. Mm-hmm. That's the thing here. They're like, but they don't want to spook them either. They don't want them to run away. So they're like, they ask the pair to come into the station at their convenience. Yeah. Hey, come on down this week sometime.
Whenever you got time.
Please, we need you to drop off Tim's vehicles because we need to search them and figure out if there's any connection to the disappearance, and there might be a clue there. So we need to really go over it. So you got to drop the vehicles off at the station. And also they want to talk to them about maybe getting some more help on finding out where Tim possibly is.
Right.
So they go in thinking they're hot shit and thinking they're going to just walk on, in there and fool a bunch of cops. And
they're like, Columbo wants to talk to us. Yeah. Let's go fool this guy.
Well, they think, they already think, I feel like, that they got away with it. Like, they just want help to find out maybe if we know anything more. They're not interrogating
Meanwhile, they
us.
got Michael Chiklis down at the station ready to rough them up.
They got somebody putting on a pair of, somebody with a phone book ready to work them over. That's what's happening here.
Fantastic.
But they do it a smarter way, actually.
Right.
They do it in a mental way. It's pretty smart. Police say that Pamela didn't seem nervous at the station. She's very cooperative. Mm-hmm. I saw footage of her there. She seemed real casual and cooperative. Detective Dean Miller called Adam Scott, quote, a very happy, jolly guy. He was friendly and pleasant to talk to. Mm-hmm. So they're just showing up. They're not acting weird and creepy. Police kept it very casual, like Pam and Adam were just helping out. Yeah. Just kept the whole thing real casual. Then they offer them out of the blue. They're like, hey, do us a favor. You know what I mean? We need to clear people out that, so we know who's not involved, basically. And we don't think you guys are involved, obviously. So do us a favor here. We need you to take this kind of lie detector test. Because a lot of times police departments will give polygraphs to tons of people to eliminate suspects. Not to incriminate them, but to eliminate them. Right. They have 50 of them and 49 of them show no deception, and that guy does. We can eliminate the 49 and maybe look at that guy a little closer type of thing.
I'm on board.
None of this is admissible in court. It's not an exact science. But they can get an idea off of this shit. So they say, let's just do this. Let's clear it out of the way. Just due diligence.
Yeah.
Got to do my due diligence here. Police tell them it'll clear it up if they pass, and then they can move on and go on with it. So It's not a polygraph. It's a test called a CVSA test.
Okay.
It's a new technology, or was newer then. It's a computer voice stress analysis test.
Oh, I've heard of these. These are awesome.
It's pretty cool. Now, I think it's probably as much a bullshit as a polygraph for you, but whatever. It's one of these, quote, sciences that's not really,
it's
quote,
the new
science.
hypnotism.
Sort of, yeah. It's considered by some to be more accurate than a polygraph. Basically, a polygraph can be manipulated by controlled breathing. There's 100 books out there. If you just Wikipedia or Google search how to beat a lie detector test, it'll tell you to clench your asshole and shit like that. Seriously, that controls your blood flow.
Really?
Yeah, it'll tell you clench your asshole. That's what it tells you, because that gets blood rushing, and that's how you get
false positive.
That's
or
how
something?
you spike it. Yeah, when they ask what is your name? Is your name Jimmy? And you clench your asshole, and that shows that's your level. So then when you lie, it's at the same level.
That's hilarious.
It's ridiculous, shit like that. But this apparently CVSA measures your voice. Okay. It's a different thing. It first appeared in 1988. It is marketed by this is the biggest load of shit company I've ever heard, because they put the word institute in their name.
All right.
If you're a company, don't put the word institute in your name. It's called come on. It's called the, quote, National Institute for Truth Verification.
Oh my
that
God.
is not a real institute of any kind. And they're out of West Palm Beach, Florida, which makes them even less legitimate, in my opinion. Jesus Christ. I've done comedy there. Nothing good is coming out of there. Trust me. Nothing.
It's like an afternoon commercial, though, that comes on right after the ambulance chasing lawyer.
Oh, yeah. With like an old lady going, I didn't know what happened, and the CVSA solved my mystery. There's some shit like that. Now,
and then right after that comes, did you invent something? Call us. Invent help.
Exactly. And this here, what they do here, and here's something from, there's a guy who's like the guru of it, Bill Endler, and he said, quote, with the polygraph, there's several countermeasures someone can do to manipulate the chart, such as controlled breathing, like I was saying. So it's a thing like that. Basically, with the polygraph, what they like to do, police stations across the country, and this is a fact, but there's a great book out there called Homicide, A Year on the Killing Streets. It's written by David Simon. He's the creator of The Wire. He's the creator of the Homicide TV show on, I can't remember what network it was on, but in the 90s he was that. Treme is his. But he was a crime reporter in Baltimore for years and years and years, and he went every day with the homicide department for the whole year of 1988.
Oh, my God.
And wrote this incredible, incredible book about a year with the homicide department.
Yeah.
It's amazing, this book. My favorite book, one of my favorites of all time. Mm-hmm. In this book, he tells about a technique they would do, and they did this on The Wire, referencing the book, where they would take a suspect in, someone who was an idiot, and they literally put their hand on a copy machine. And they'd say, this is a lie detector test. And they'd have sheets loaded in there, and they'd have another guy acting like, they'd have a guy with a lab coat on, who's just a detective
just
with a lab coat.
pressing print.
He would literally press print. They'd say, put your hand on the side of the machine. It'd say, is your name Jimmy? Yes. And they'd press it, and it would literally, the light comes down and a paper shoots out. And it says truth. And they're like, truth. Do you live at this address?
Oh, my God. This is the most amazing thing ever.
Did you kill Pookie on the 400 block of Edmondson Avenue? No, I didn't.
Truth.
Lie, it says. They'll be like, you lying motherfucker.
How do they put in
with
another...
a straight face.
How do they put in another goddamn paper?
They have them preloaded.
Oh, that's
they have them
so
loaded
great.
To just press the button that just shoots a piece of paper out, and they have them loaded,
that's
truth,
so
truth,
brilliant.
lie. And then people admit to it. It's insane. They're like, oh, I'm busted, fuck it. They're like, I'm busted, fuck it. And they do it all the time. So this is a technique police departments use. It really is.
I want to watch that happen to some fucking dumb...
It's great. There's a scene in The Wire where they do it, and it's they describe it. It's just how it is in the book, and it's hilarious.
Oh, my God. It's so awesome.
It's a neat trick, I guess.
Unbelievable. That should be illegal, though.
I would think, maybe, but
I just laughed so hard I'm seeing stars right now. That's so funny.
I'm telling you, man, it's wild, and this is what they do to manipulate people, because they think they're busted. It's hilarious.
Oh, my God.
All right, let's find a little more about how the CVSA works, because it's just a voice thing. Okay, back to Bill Endler here, the guru. He says, quote, the muscle in your voice box tightens up, so when you speak, air passes over it, and it still vibrates, but it doesn't vibrate at the same rate it does when you relax. So that's how they do it, and they basically have a bunch of sound waves on there, and they look
your
at whether
vocal cords tense up because you're lying, and
they look at whether they're vertical or horizontal.
Fucking amazing.
It's pretty interesting. Yeah, a lot of people believe it isn't accurate, obviously, but police don't give a shit because they use it to leverage idiots out of confessions. They don't care if it's bullshit. If the guy confesses to it afterwards, what the hell do they care?
Right.
It's one of those things. So they give the CVSA test to Pamela first. It's given by the investigator David Lindloff that we mentioned earlier.
Yep.
They put the microphone on Pamela. She immediately crosses her arms in a combative way. The whole time she's just been hanging out, letting her feet swing off the bottom of the bench. And this time all of a sudden now crosses
all of a
her
sudden
arms.
she's got some standoffish body language.
So they're like, why are you why are you looking like that? And she said, I'm anemic. I'm always cold, so I'm cold now.
Okay.
Which is, if any woman ever says that to you, run away. By the way. Any woman who says I'm cold because I'm always anemic,
right.
that's bad sign.
She's pissed.
Personal experience. Anyway, so Lindloff asks her, is your name Pam? He alternates. Did you see Tim get in a vehicle and drive away? Is today Wednesday? Do you know what happened to Tim? She answers all those questions. Pamela denies knowing anything. She, admitted it was Wednesday, but didn't admit anything else.
Okay.
Said no. Police say Adam Scott came in now next.
Right.
They bring her out. Adam Scott comes in. They say he's super nervous. He's rubbing his face.
Uh-oh.
He's like rubbing his eyes. He's got his hand over his mouth. He's doing that whole thing here, which who wouldn't be nervous anyway? They're hooking you up to a machine asking you about a possible murder.
Yeah.
I'd be nervous too, even if I didn't do it. Even more nervous if I didn't do anything. I'd be like, holy shit, this could go bad quick. Lindloff asked Adam if he paid $7,000 for the van, questions like that.
Yeah.
To get Lindloff shows detectives their tests were deceptive. Because obviously they're lying, because otherwise they wouldn't be this far into the story.
Right.
So they're clearly fucking lying. That's how you can tell if someone's lying. If it's minute 38 into our podcast and they're saying something and police don't believe them, it's a lie. Detective Dean Miller, here back again, said, quote, just in a matter of seconds, we went from a missing persons investigation to a homicide investigation. Both of them admitted after the results of the test that, yes, we killed Tim Johnson.
Really?
It did not take long for them to come out and admit this shit. The police confront them separately about failing their tests. First, they tell Pamela they failed the test. And Pamela, this is because they have video footage of this I watched. They tell her, your results were deceptive. Yeah. She just leans forward like she's saying, I had a turkey sandwich for lunch. She leans forward and goes, I killed him. You got me. Just, I don't know, whatever. Just like, we clear that right up, right?
They should have used the Xerox trick.
Yeah, they should have. She would have fell for it, this one, probably. But it's like a policeman pulled her over and she said, I was going 10 over the limit. Yeah. I was going a little fast. That's right. She goes, I killed him.
I got a bunch of parking tickets and I don't have insurance.
So it happens, man. So the cop says, you knew ahead of time that you were going to kill him? And Pamela says, I didn't think I'd do it, though. I wanted to.
I had a good idea I was going to do it, but I was like, I'm not going to do that.
Cop says, if Tim Johnson was sitting in that chair right now, what do you think you would say to him? And she says, quote, I'd call him a low-down dirty dog.
In 2007, she said that?
Yeah. Like I said, 50 years behind this town is. That's no an insult
doubt.
back then. That is worthy of a duel in this town.
A low-down dirty dog.
Low-down dirty dog. She said it angrily, too. She had to tell him he's a low-down dirty dog. And they were like, all right, then.
I wonder what would get her to say that.
Let's get you in some cuffs quick. So
somebody got some silver jewelry for this broad.
Man, so they confront Adam Scott, and David Lindloff tells Adam Scott, quote, see here where I asked you if you paid $7,000 for the van? And he says, buddy, you're not telling me the truth. Okay, and you know you're not. And he just showed him the audio levels. He could have shown him anything, and he was like, I did it. I killed him. Both of them are just the easiest. So they're separate, too. This isn't together. They're just like, okay, I did it.
They're perfect for each other.
They're perfect. So they also tell Adam that Pamela admitted to the murder. Adam tells police, he did it right away. Pamela says now she changes her story in the other room, saying that Adam didn't have anything to do with it. It was all me. I killed Tim.
Oh, she's very
nice.
nice.
No, it's not Adam, but she ends up telling the story.
Yeah.
And once they get to it, they're like, how did you do it? And once she tries to explain, they go, you didn't do that by yourself. And we'll get into how here, because they tell him how it happened. And they're truthful about it. Apparently, Tim was sitting down, possibly at his computer. Adam put Tim in a chokehold from behind and overpowered him. Tim fought back, though. He tried.
Yeah.
He's like, I gotta clean mom's bedpan, so let me out of this. Pamela comes in during the struggle and starts wrapping Tim's face with saran wrap.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that if you're overseas, England, that's cling film. That's plastic wrap that you wrap things with. Yeah, I know my stuff over here. I didn't think they would know what saran wrap was, so I have to tell them.
And she's going to try to say that they didn't know they were going to do this?
Said they didn't think they would go through with it, apparently. Like, I got him in the chokehold, and she's like, well, now or never. Grab the saran wrap. Let's wrap it up.
She's like, I got saran wrap. I'll handle this.
Hold on, I was covering up the leftover chicken, but let me get over here quick. So basically, once they keep Pamela's comes in and they're trying to wrap it up, and apparently after a minute here, Adam takes over and finishes up the saran wrapping of his face.
It's like, you're no good at this.
No, Tim suffocates obviously because he's wrapped in plastic and being choked at the same time.
Right.
So one tends to do when that happens.
You can't get air past the plastic, but in the event that you do get a little bit past it, you can't get it past the forearm that's wrapped around your neck.
Forearm, and he was kind of a big, stocky guy. Adam Scott too. He's a stocky, kind of a heavier set guy. This is now there's a dead guy. Now poor Tim is dead. He's a nice guy. Poor guy got adopted and had a nice life, and now he's taking care of his mother like a decent human being, and now these idiots fucking kill him, so that's not great. Now there's a dead guy. The mother's home, by the way. The mother's in the other room. She can't. She doesn't know what's going on because she's out of it. In bed in the other room. So,
horrible.
I mean, I just picture like she has no idea this is happening either. She never knew what was happening. I just picture her like ringing her bell while this is going on.
Keep it down in there.
Where's my Jell-O? I asked for Jell-O, and they're like, "Will you fucking get her some Jell-O?" God damn it! And they're yelling at each other. They're like, "Shit, we didn't think this through.
You get the Jell-O.
We didn't think this through. Someone's got to get her the Jell-O. We really should have just left him alone." They decide at this point they're going to dispose of the body.
Oh, God.
So,
This is the part of all stories that I'm always a little uneasy with, because that is so horrific.
They're like, now what do we? Well, they got the dead Tim. They got the mother there, so they can't just leave him in the living room, obviously. They don't know what to do. They can't exactly call the cops and say it was an accident.
No.
He accidentally wrapped his head in saran wrap and fell over. That's not going to fly. It's not going to fly with anybody.
Shit.
I don't know. He was covering up the leftover vegetables. The next thing you know, he was on the floor gasping. I don't know what happened.
That doesn't make much sense. I got a Xerox machine for you to talk to.
So Pamela and Adam, what would you do in this situation? You have to get rid of this body.
Okay, if I have a body to take care of because I'm an evil cunt and I did something terrible.
It's in the living room.
It's in the living room, and I can't get caught because my mother's here. I'm guessing fire.
You got it.
All right.
You're thinking just like these scumbags. Good job.
That's a desperate move because I don't want to see blood. I don't want to open him up.
No. Problem here with the fire is they're probably thinking like, oh, well, like cremate him like in a crematorium. But those things are like thousands of degrees. You can't make that fire on your own to burn a body to nothing. No. So they pour gasoline on it and try to light it on fire.
That ain't going to work.
That didn't work. Now they have, I don't know if they forgot the kindling or what the fuck happened there, but it didn't work.
Now they've got muscle and bone and no skin. Yeah. That's what they've got.
Picture him. Should we try a Duraflame log under it to get it started? Like when we're camping?
No, twist the newspaper. Twist it.
Simulate kindling. You twist it, Chet. It's a second grade outdoors reference in 2 weeks with us. Look at that.
You twist it.
Twist it, Chet.
So
Simulate
good.
kindling. So what are they going to do with the charred chunks of the remains of this guy now? Now they have like a half a burned up body.
Did they just bury it in the backyard?
No, that would have been an interesting plan. They need a new plan here. So they decide that this...
Oh, they put it in the van.
Nope.
Oh.
They stuff him into an oil barrel. They have like a drum.
It's so messy. They had to touch all this.
They put him into an oil... Oh, yeah. They had to stuff him into an oil barrel. And then their plan is to fill it with concrete on top of him. So
that doesn't get rid of a body.
Then once they do that, they're planning on going to a bridge and pushing it into the river. It'll sink right to the bottom because it's full of concrete.
Yeah, but the problem is Tim's not gone.
Well, problem is the barrel, once being filled with concrete, ends up being 700 pounds. And these
you can't lift that.
Idiots can't lift that. Literally, now they're like, shit, we can't get the concrete out. We're stuck with this 700-pound thing, and they just put it in the garage. They just put it in the garage and act like nothing happened. They're like, I guess we'll just put it in here and leave it in there.
Get the van, drag it in there.
So the police, once they hear all of this, they told the cops all this, by the way. This is all from their own mouths that this happened. This isn't like we pieced it together.
So then we put concrete in it, and then that jackass couldn't lift it.
They're like, damned if it wasn't too heavy to lift. We really wanted to get it down to the river.
It's in the garage underneath the underneath the snowshoes.
Yeah. It was in there in the corner just with a bunch of other barrels. Police go in there. They find a concrete barrel. They're like, holy shit, these people weren't kidding. And they get air chisels and break through the concrete and eventually find Tim. Like, holy shit, they weren't lying. Unbelievable. So they were like, why did you do this? First of all, what motivation could you have had? Apparently, since the father was dead and the mother was sick, it was known that Tim was going to inherit everything.
Of course.
Which wasn't a lot to inherit anyway, but Pamela wanted the inheritance.
Yeah.
I looked up the house because I found the address and I looked up the house. Well, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,819 square foot house.
Oh.
The Zillow estimate on it is $207,801 on the house that's there now because they tore that fucking thing to the ground and rebuilt
I would too.
Yeah, they rebuilt. They tore it to the ground. The lot sold for like $40,000 and then they rebuilt a new house.
So it's in the top 4% of what that town is worth.
It's a top house now.
Wow.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone wanted to be in the concrete barrel burned up body house.
Yeah, in the Saran wrap house.
Yeah, this all happened in 2007. The new house was built in 2010.
Okay.
So obviously, February 16th, 2017, both of Adam Scott and Pamela Henry are arrested and charged with aggravated murder, gross
2007, right?
2007.
Right.
Yeah, arrested, charged with aggravated murder, gross abuse of a corpse. That's not one you want to have on your resume, is it?
Gross abuse.
The only one who's hire you there is Dunkin' Donuts, probably. See episode 2, Murder in Raynham there, where they hired a horrible sex offender.
Yes.
Tampering with evidence, aggravated robbery, and theft.
Wow.
So they got a good line of charges. They indict them on March 5th of 2007. Court rules that they're both indigent. They get public defenders because they have no money because they're complete pieces of shit.
Of course.
That would believe the copy machine trick. Now, both of them file motions in court to suppress the statements of their confession. They say they were coerced by the machine.
Well,
somehow.
yeah.
They had a microphone on them. Confessions.
But you still said it.
Yeah, basically they say, hey, look, they tricked us, basically. And they were like, yeah, that's fine. You're allowed to trick people. Because actually in the law, you are allowed to lie to a suspect to get a confession.
You can deceive them a
in
little,
the law.
right.
Yeah, and especially if it's a murder.
How about ladies that walk down the street looking like hookers and then guys walk up and offer them money? They get arrested too.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
Good
she
point.
just essentially lied.
Yeah, she.
Hey, would you like a date?
Definitely.
That's what she said. And he makes a deal with her and he gets arrested.
That's the truth.
Same
man.
thing.
So the prosecutors they try to show in court that Pamela was abusive. They bring in medical records of her daughter that I guess showed abuse of her children. She had 2 children. So they're trying to show she's a bad person here. Now, on November 15th, 2007, Adam Scott agrees to a deal with prosecutors to plead guilty to these felonies in exchange for testifying against Pamela.
Right.
So he flipped on her.
Yep.
He doesn't really get much off for that. He ends up he pleads to aggravated murder, gross abuse of a corpse, tampering, aggravated robbery, and theft. Same thing. He's pleading in exchange, like I said. Now, the verdicts come down, or verdict for Pamela comes down because he's already made his verdict big.
Right.
March 13th, 2008, the jury returns a verdict of guilty on 5 of the 6 counts, including aggravated murder and gross abuse of a corpse, which those are big ones. Like I said, not real good on the resume.
No.
The gross abuse of a corpse.
Gross abuse.
Gross
not just abuse
yeah.
of a corpse, but
Yeah.
gross abuse.
Like, what did you? If someone said that to you, I was arrested for gross abuse of a corpse, you'd be like, what did you do to them?
Exactly in that
do?
tone, too.
Yeah.
What did you do?
What did you do? What was it? Why was it so gross? Yeah.
I
So,
lit a body on fire with gasoline and a Duraflame, and then I twisted the Gazette to try to get it to burn, and it didn't work.
didn't work.
No.
So I said, fuck it.
So I put it in concrete and left it in the garage. Yeah, that's pretty gross.
Yeah, that's going to be
definitely gross.
Yeah. Oh, that qualifies. So you'd like to be a manager on the 3 to 9 shift here at Dunkin' Donuts? No problem. You're on.
You're in.
Make sure to stop by and check everybody else's time cards once in a while, especially after
Timmy
you,
Fudges.
especially after you kill a young girl. Do that. Now, the sentences, Adam Scott receives 20 years to life. That's with a deal.
Ooh.
That's that's tough for a deal.
But at least he gets parole.
Maybe. Pamela gets 25 to life. She only got 5 more
years more.
Now, I assume when parole hearings come up, it'll look better that he flipped for him than it will look for her who didn't, I'm sure.
And it comes in 20 years where hers comes in 25.
Exactly. So who knows here. Now,
She's not getting out. I can almost guarantee
well,
that.
let's see here. She appeals this
course she
decision on grounds that she blurted out to the confession, and when she did, she was not Mirandized. Now, that's the thing here. If you're from overseas, we have something called a Miranda warning where we tell you have the right to remain silent. I'm sure you've seen it on TV shows.
Established in Phoenix,
blah.
Arizona.
Yes, exactly. Right. So it's basically they didn't Mirandize her yet. You have to do basically when someone becomes a suspect, the second we go from witness to suspect, you have to Mirandize them at that point. Otherwise,
You give them all their rights and
Yes.
tell them they can
have to
either
sign a
talk or
paper.
shut the fuck up.
They even have to sign a paper saying they
Really?
acknowledge. Absolutely, you have to
Wow.
sign a paper saying I acknowledge my rights and all that. So that's a hell of a sales job. Not only is they getting you to confess, they're like, hold on a sec, here, sign this paper too. So you have to read it and think about it and sign it. So you're really in there. She said that it was made under coercion and not under Miranda. Police say that the court rules on February 2nd, 2009, so this is 2 years later, court rules that she was there of her own free will.
Yep.
She was there at a time of convenience for her. They didn't drag her down there against her will and make her do it. She was free to go at any time before the confession. No one told her to blurt it out.
All right, good.
They said, yeah, that's your fucking problem.
Yeah.
And also, as soon as she made the admission, they went, Miranda. And then Mirandized her, gave her the sheet, and then she did it again. Then she confessed again after Miranda.
So who gives a fuck about before?
They said, okay, that's fine before. Now we need to hear all that again and in writing. lying and blah, blah, blah. And she did all that. So at that point, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
You were Mirandized. You
Slam
had your
dunk.
right. Yeah, you knew your rights. If she would have said no, no, no and clammed up after that, that shit wouldn't have counted.
Right.
Because it was before Miranda. So they did their jobs correctly. They say tough shit. You were Mirandized afterwards, and you just blurted it out of nowhere. So that's your fucking problem, lady.
Sorry for you.
Thank you. Fuck off. Have a good one. So her appeal is denied.
Good.
And she must serve the whole sentence here.
Wow.
And that's that. She's going to serve 25 years to life. Now, okay. Now, that's Eaton, Ohio, and Pamela Henry. And I feel bad for Tim Johnson. That's a terrible thing to have happened to you. And
The worst.
Happened. Yeah, and I feel bad for the mother, too. I mean, the mother had
That's
this...
a terrible way to
It's
die.
horrible. And now think about the poor mother. Then, so in a month, she had her son taking care of her daughter there, and a month later, she got nobody.
Nobody.
Nobody. Probably, I don't know, when a cousin or something came over, somebody helped her, they put her in a home. I'm not sure, but she was in her own family home with her son taking care of her, and now she's... Who knows?
Now
where.
she's not there
Probably
because
dead
somebody
now,
else.
I assume, but
I imagine she's probably dead. And if not, she's in a home somewhere, being cared for by the state.
Yeah, just waiting it out.
Right, with the reverse mortgage money that she made when they sold the house.
Exactly. Yeah, this lady is the woman who would fall for a reverse mortgage scam. This poor lady in a wheelchair with Tim in there, and Tim came in and went, "What are you doing, Ma? Don't sign that." Jesus Christ. So now that Pamela Henry, obviously, she's an awful person. She won't be on the streets for a long, long time, which is great. But there's some people still on the streets that could suffer from her crime.
Get out of here.
And then one person that really don't punish this person is Pam Henry. She's an actress. Don't punish her. She's an active actress since from 1979 to now.
Wow.
Literally from 79 to 2014 she has credits, but in that whole time she only has 5 credits.
Oh, the poor thing.
So she gets like every
Somebody
8
give her a
years,
commercial.
she was in Prom Night, 1980, the horror movie.
Yeah.
She played a car hop, and nothing much. Her last work was in 2014 in a movie called I Declare War.
Doesn't sound good.
She played Agent Number 1. That's never a good sign. She only had one credit with a character name, with an actual name, not like, person number 8 or something like that. So
car hop.
Don't punish that Pam Henry. Punish the good Pam Henry, or the shit Pam Henry. Don't punish this Pam Henry who's just trying to make her way in the world in Hollywood. Don't bother her. Give her a job. If you're making a film,
give her a commercial.
Call her up. Say, hey, you know what, Pam? We feel bad for you. People Google search, and you're like on page 8. Right. So we feel terrible.
Bad.
We feel terrible for you. So
make her the new Flo.
Make her the new Flo. That is small town murder. That is Eaton, Ohio. That is a messed up little case we have there.
What a terrible little town.
It's a terrible town. What we're going to do now, guys, is going to give shout outs to people because we've been waiting to do this for a few weeks. We had some cases that were really up against the hour mark. We try to make this an hour, try to make this a lunch break podcast, basically something you can, our other podcast is longer, Crime and Sports. This one we try to keep it a lower, little like a lunch break. You can fit it in a lunch break, a little more casual when it comes to that, the time-wise. If you want to get a shout-out, please follow us on social media, @MurderSmall on Twitter, Small Town Pod on Facebook. You can send us cases that you want to, from your hometown, from around that you've heard of. Do that, please.
Or where you grew up if you left that little town and went to a big city.
Absolutely.
Something always happens.
Absolutely. Also to... also, the main thing, please, iTunes reviews. Please, if you like what you heard, go on iTunes. Give us 5 stars, please. I mean, we work our asses off on this, and I know it takes a couple of minutes, and you have to sign in and do all that, but I promise you, we appreciate it more than you could possibly know. And if you really like us and you want to help us out, you can donate to us on Patreon.
Yeah.
That's patreon.com/crime-and-sports. That's the name of our other podcast, but we just set up one. So if you'd like to throw us a couple of bucks, we have some interesting rewards, and we'll say thank you from the bottom of our hearts if you can do that. But here are some awesome people who've been interacting with us, and let's shout them out, Jimmy.
Candace in Austin, you're terrific, and Rogue Lizzie in Minnesota or Iowa. By the way, you have to pick one because I understand they have a little rivalry.
Yeah. Rivalry there. They don't like each other, those states.
Rogue Lizzie, figure it out. Pick one.
Gophers and Hawkeyes don't mix, man.
Michael Johnson in Tacoma. I dig that it's Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson combined there. Aaron Finson, Lauren Marie in Northern California, Matt Waters in London, England, Boston Bohannon in Seattle, Sean W. in the UK, and Jody Wells. Thank you all so much for listening.
You guys have really, really helped us out. You've made this whole thing the feedback we've gotten so far has been really, really positive.
Overwhelmingly positive.
And the show's been successful, like right off the bat, and that blows us away.
We haven't fallen off the charts once in this entire 4 weeks that we've done this.
Thank you guys so much for that.
That's
so
all
please,
you.
Tell a friend, do this. We're comics. We don't have a big network or anything like that. We've kind of built up a little something on our own with Crime and Sports and all that, but we don't have a network. We have nobody pushing us.
Nope.
There's nobody, paying iTunes to put us, on their featured section or anything like that. It's just
bastards.
It's you guys telling people and spreading it on social media and spreading it just to your friends, talking, say, hey,
hanging with us every week for an hour, and then telling your friends that you enjoyed that hour.
That's right. So please do that. Keep it going. Come back and see us again, because we're going to keep doing this every single week. We have years of cases lined up.
We're going to miss you for 6 days now.
6 days, you won't see us, but we'll be back every single Thursday.
Right.
Guys, thank you for joining us this week. It's really been our pleasure. Thank you.
See ya.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country, who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.